Good evening, adventurers. We're live from the studio, and tonight we bring breaking news. The first in our Dungeons & Dragons news updates. So grab your dice and get ready, because today we're taking a look at the most recent updates from the world of Dungeons & Dragons. From executive shakeups at Wizards of the Coast to groundbreaking new tools for DMs and players alike. There's a lot to unpack, and I know some of these are controversial topics, but I'm going to do my best to discuss them in a fair and unbiased manner. But please feel free to discuss them in the comments section below. So without further ado, let's dive into the evening news. First on our agenda, some significant news on the corporate front. Wizards of the Coast, the powerhouse behind our beloved Dungeons & Dragons, has a new leader at the helm, John Hite. If that name sounds familiar, it should. John Hite has a storied career in the gaming industry, having worked on iconic titles like World of Warcraft and Diablo III. His appointment as the president of Wizards of the Coast and digital gaming marks a pivotal moment for the company. With Hite's deep-rooted experience in fostering online communities and managing large-scale digital platforms, it is clear that Wizards of the Coast is doubling down on its digital future. Now, why is this important for us, the D&D community? Well, Hite's leadership is likely to steer D&D into exciting new territories, particularly in the digital realm. His role includes overseeing the company's digital licensing agreements, which could mean more partnerships and collaborations that bring D&D into new spaces, from mobile games to perhaps even more expansive virtual experiences. With revenue from Wizards of the Coast digital segment already on the rise, up 7% in the last quarter, Hite's appointment signals that Wizards is ready to capitalize on this momentum. And let's not forget, this comes at a time when Hasbro as a whole is facing challenges. With a 24% decline in overall revenue, it is a clear indication that Wizards is seen as a key growth area for the company. The push to an online and digital Dungeons & Dragons is certainly a controversial decision, as many D&D fans view the game as a tabletop game first and foremost, seeing this appointment as a push in the wrong direction for the future of the system. But Hite isn't stepping into his role alone. He is joined by other new faces at Hasbro, including Dan Schall, the new Chief Digital Informations Officer, and Stephanie Beal, the Chief Supply Chain Officer. Together, this team is expected to drive forward a strategy that blends traditional tabletop experiences with an innovative digital offering. This could mean anything from enhanced digital tools for DMs to entirely new ways to experience D&D online. We're already seeing some of this with the upcoming virtual tabletop, but more on that in just a bit.
And I'm here to save you again.
So many of us played Baldur's Gate 3.
What in the sweet hells were you thinking?
This is the opportunity for people to continue their adventures in this new way to play D&D.
We have this 3D sandbox where you can bring your friends and play D&D with all of these cool 3D environment pieces and miniatures that come with the product. You can start experiencing a role-playing game, but in a more digital-friendly format.
You go take those characters, Asterion and Karlak, you get to play with them and just tell your own tale.
Where people who may be used to video games actually get to see the thing that you're talking about instead of just trying to imagine it.
And it's not meant to replace your imagination. In fact, you actually need a lot of imagination still.
You actually just pick up the miniatures and move them around, and you can build things like you would build at your table with 3D terrain pieces. You have 3D characters that you can look at, manipulate, dress up. What we're trying to do is get the most fast, fun, accessible version of the game.
It's basically playing D&D on your own virtual tabletop. Just easy, fast, fun. If you played with minis before, you're just playing with minis here. It's just a place for you to connect with your friends online whenever you want.
Let's shift gears and talk about what's got the D&D community buzzing, the upcoming virtual tabletop codenamed Project Sigil. If you haven't heard about this yet, prepare to be intrigued. Project Sigil was one of the major highlights at Gen Con 2024, where Wizards of the Coast unveiled a new look at this highly anticipated platform. So, what exactly is Project Sigil? At its core, it is a 3D sandbox environment that allows you to create and explore D&D adventures in a fully interactive and immersive way. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Do we really need another virtual tabletop? After all, platforms like Roll20 and Foundry have been around for years, providing us with the tools to run our games online. But Project Sigil is aiming to be something different. It's not just about replicating the tabletop, no. It is about enhancing it. Think of it as a fusion between the narrative depth of traditional D&D and the dynamic visual storytelling of a video game. I personally am excited to see what Sigil holds, but myself and the community are cautious about the monetization plans that they may have in store. One of the standout features of Project Sigil is its integration with characters from across different platforms like Baldur's Gate 3. Yes, you can actually bring characters like Astarion and Karlak into your D&D campaigns as digital miniatures. This isn't just a cosmetic feature either. These minis are designed to be a part of your game, complete with the multi-poses and interactive elements that you know and love. Imagine continuing your Baldur's Gate 3 story in a Dungeons & Dragons setting, exploring new adventures with your favorite characters, and Shadowheart, I'm speaking to you. It is a crossover that many fans have been dreaming of, and now it is becoming a reality. But it doesn't stop there. Project Sigil also offers a robust map editor, allowing you to craft intricate battle maps with ease. Whether you're building a sprawling castle or a dense forest, the tools are at your fingertips to bring your vision to life. You can place individual elements like torches, furniture, and even NPCs, creating a living, breathing world for your players to explore. The level of detail here is impressive. It's like having a video game engine dedicated entirely to your D&D campaigns. However, there are some caveats to be aware of. Project Sigil will have certain constraints for free users, which means that if you want access to a full suite of features, you'll need to be a D&D Beyond subscriber, big shock. This has sparked some debate in the community with concerns about the potential for monetization, overshadowing the complete experience of the platform. Wizards has reassured us that they're using the upcoming beta to fine-tune what's most valuable to players, but it's something to keep in mind and an eye on as the platform develops. Instead of cutting to commercial break, I am just going to quickly ask everybody, if you're a fan of D&D content and want to get more of the amazing stuff that I produce, you can find it over on my Patreon. By following the link in the video description below, you can sign up for one of many tiers available, from ad-free episodes, early access, and exclusive bonus content, all the way up to character art, giveaways, and free painted minis. I have a lot for you to check out, and it would mean the world to me if you supported me over there. Back to the news. Speaking of D&D Beyond, let's discuss a bit of the drama that's unfolded recently as Wizards of the Coast gears up for the launch of the 2024 Player's Handbook, which may be out by the time some of you watch this video. It certainly hasn't been smooth sailing. At the beginning of August, the rules embargo was lifted, allowing creators with special early access, which I would kill to have for the Dungeon Master's Guide, began talking about the rules in the new edition online. Wizards then started issuing copyright strikes against those creators who showcased the new 5.5e Player's Handbook in their videos. This action has caused confusion and frustration, especially since these creators were seemingly following Wizards of the Coast's very own guidelines. As of August 1st, when the review embargo on the new Player's Handbook was lifted, numerous creators released videos highlighting the content of the book. However, despite being provided by the book by Wizards, many of these videos have been targeted with copyright strikes. Notable creators like Nerd Immersion, D&D Shorts, and Jorfdan, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, like I do with many of my pronunciations, receiving strikes that could lead to channel termination. The situation has sparked widespread concern within the D&D community, particularly due to YouTube's stringent 3-strike policy, which can result in a channel being completely and permanently terminated, While no lawsuits have been filed, the use of the copyright strikes as a tool has raised questions about Wizards' approach to content sharing and community engagement. Despite the turmoil, there seems to be a little bit of a resolution with Jorfdan, one of the affected creators, who managed to resolve the issue with his copyright strikes after garnering attention from the community. However, the incident has left a sour taste in the mouths of many creators, highlighting the challenges of navigating content creation in the age of corporate oversight. Wizards stated that they were issuing copyright strikes initially because they were worried people were going to take screenshots of the material and put together PDFs ahead of the actual release of the game. However, this also led to some frustration among fans and creators because during Gen Con 2024, physical books were given away or sold anyways. Within the last week prior to making this news video, Wizards announced some changes to how D&D Beyond will handle the transition between the 2014 and 2024 editions. Initially, the plan was to replace all the 14 spells and magical items with their updated 24 versions. Players would have had to then manually recreate old content they wanted to keep. And as you can imagine, this didn't go over well with the community. The backlash was swift and intense. Players were frustrated that a decade's worth of spells and items could simply be wiped away, especially since many elements from 5th edition are still relevant and beloved. Fortunately, Wizards listened, and they listened quickly. They reversed their decision, allowing players to retain the 14 version of the spells and items on their D&D Beyond accounts. Now, the rulebooks that players would have purchased in years past would have always been on your account, but the updates would have affected the character builder. That is what has been reversed. You will now have the option to choose between both the 14 and 24 players' handbooks. You'll be able to now choose which version of the spell or item you want to use without the need for any manual workarounds. It is a win for players' choice, and a reminder that even in the digital age, our voice as a community still matters. Let's dive into the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide, which is shaping up to be a must-have for any DMs. Scheduled for release on November 12th, 2024, this guide is part of a broader revision of D&D's 5th edition. The new Dungeon Master's Guide is packed with features designed to streamline gameplay and enhance the storytelling experience. One of the most exciting additions is the Bastion system. This system allows players to create and develop their own bases or strongholds. Think of it as home base, where your characters can rest, plan, and even manage resources between adventures. It's a bit like a mini-game within the game, offering new layers of depth and immersion. But that's not all. The 24 DMG will also reintroduce Greyhawk as a customizable campaign setting. For those who are new to Greyhawk, it is one of the oldest settings in D&D history. Originally designed for the game's 1st edition, in this new guide, Greyhawk is presented as a flexible, adaptable world that DMs can mold to fit their campaigns. It's nostalgic as well, a nod to D&D's roots, but with enough modern updates to make it relevant for today's players. And let's not forget about the monsters. The 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide will feature 75 brand new monsters designed to challenge even the most experienced players. From arch-hags to blobs of annihilation, these new creatures are sure to spice up your campaigns. Plus, all the existing monsters are getting a makeover, with new art and improved stat blocks that make them more dynamic and engaging. If you are excited about the Dungeon Master's Guide and all of the other content like me, you can come celebrate over in my Discord community, a place where like-minded players and DMs come to talk and hang out about all things D&D. We are a positive and accepting community, and I can't wait to see you over there. The link is in the video description below. Before we wrap up, let's circle back to Gen Con 2024, where Wizards of the Coast dropped a veritable avalanche of news. In addition to Project Sigil, they also gave us a sneak peek at the new Monsters Manual set to release early next year. This updated tome will feature over 500 monsters. I'm so excited, with expanded families and NPC groups that will cover a wide range of levels. For example, vampires, which traditionally became less of a threat as players level up, will now have lower and higher level variations to keep things interesting. But perhaps the most heartwarming update of all, house cats finally have dark vision. Yes, you heard that right. After a decade of debate and player feedback, D&D's designers have finally given over our feline friends a night vision makeover that they deserved. But it's moments like these that remind us how much the game is shaped by its community. So, what does all of this mean for the future of Dungeons & Dragons? In a word, potential. With some new leadership, innovative digital tools, and a commitment to evolving the game, D&D is poised to continue its reign as the world's most popular tabletop RPG. Wizards of the Coast's parent company has a lot of learning to do as well. Many in the community agree that if they want to continue being on top, they need to start being less hostile to its community, or they will eventually find themselves left behind. Whether you're excited about exploring new campaign settings, eager to test out the latest rules and mechanics, or simply looking forward to seeing your favorite characters in a whole new light, there is something for everyone on the horizon. That's all for today's D&D News Recap. If you've enjoyed this update, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. And as always, keep rolling those dice, and may your quests be epic.